Rich people who married someone poorer. What surprised you about their way of life? Story 1. I'm from the poorer family. Not super poor, but my in-laws have a huge amount of money. So by comparison, I am very poor. But I think I can answer for her. We have two young kids. And my wife was shocked when I said we should look for clothes and toys for them at local flea markets and garage sales. The idea never occurred to her that we could save money by getting some gently used items. She had never been to a garage sale in her life. She has grown to love them and now questions whether it is worth it to buy any item, new or not, before running to Amazon or a store. Her parents think it's disgusting we make our kids wear clothes that another child had before, but they don't pay my bills. Story 2. Sandwiches. When I made him a sandwich, I only put one thin slice of meat in it. He couldn't believe that was how I had sandwiches growing up. Story 3. My wife earned many times more than I did when I was a high school teacher back when we were dating. She sometimes would drive my 10-year-old primer black, stick-shift Honda Civic that my cousin lent me until I could buy another car. She was blown away by how aggressively mean people are to you when you drive an ugly old car. When she got out of the car, the spell lifted. I got a lot of respect from her for that. She seemed to think I was a saint for not turning sour over it. I was constantly getting pulled over by cops and let go, targeted by road rage, and pedestrians felt too comfortable engaging with me. I drive a newer Honda, 1 year old now, and it is so different. I drive the same, but probably drive a bit more aggressively now that I can't hear the wind roaring by when I'm going over 40 miles per hour. I haven't been pulled over and haven't had a negative interaction on the road in a long time. Also, my wife now enjoys trading cars with me. Story 4. I'm from a middle-class family, but my wife's parents are near billionaires. 0.001%. She was shocked about many things. I consider the cost of food and groceries at all. They will go to gourmet food stores and spend over $1,000 and say things like, "It's for food. We're ingesting this stuff. It should be the best." No concerns about utilities or insurance premiums. No comparison shopping on routine things at all. Every vacation is the finest you can imagine, oftentimes bordering on ridiculous. Having so many upsells on packages and bespoke items, it's just wasteful. No concept of debt and understanding of how normal people live. My wife was shocked when I saved things that got wet or muddy. She would just want to throw things like clothes and fine items in the trash away when they were just slightly bruised. We're very much in love and have shown each other a lot. She enjoys hanging with my salt-of-the-earth mom more than her own family at this point. I like being spoiled here and there as well. It's a great mix. Edit. I've obviously adopted her standard of living. We met in medical school. She did a decent job of hiding her privilege. Our relationship grew out of our shared sense of humor and, of course, physical attraction. Story 5. My husband grew up in a family where they were comfortable but on a strict budget. 6 kids and mom on disability. My family had no budget. One day, we were at the grocery store, and he always insisted on walking up and down every aisle. I finally lost it because he was taking so long and asked him why he did it. So he said, "Growing up, we could only spend $100 a week on groceries for all of us. I always had to put what I wanted back because we couldn't afford it. Now I can afford whatever I want, so I like to look at everything I could have." Took him 10 years to tell me this. I felt like a terrible person. Edit. I've had a few people, very few, comment that $100 a week is a huge budget. And that is a stretch. We live in a city with an extremely high cost of living. It's in the top 30 in the world. Getting a family of 4 fed for that much weekly would be a huge stretch here, and his family did an amazing job. Story 6. I'm not rich at all, but my husband came from a very poor Mexican village. He told me he used to shower outside because there was no in-house plumbing and used leaves as toilet paper. I mean, there is poor, and there's my husband's previous life poor. He's been living in the US for 12 years now, but when we first met, it was so interesting seeing life through his childlike eyes. Going to the cinema was a huge event for him. Heating food up in a microwave was a totally foreign concept. And staying at fancy hotels when we went on vacation was like, whoa. I still see him surprised by things now and then, and it just reminds me how much I take my middle status class for granted. Story 7. I didn't marry this woman, but when we started dating, she always wanted to chill at my place, never hers, which was fine, but she gained 35 pounds in just a few months of dating. She was 100 pounds when we started dating. Not that it was a bad thing, because I am a chubby man myself, and also I was just glad she wasn't pregnant. Anyway, turns out her family couldn't afford dinner sometimes. So suddenly she had a place to eat every night and gorged herself. Story 8. I am not well off, but my stepfather is. I was raised by a single mom who spent money on everything and bills were always behind. She just couldn't manage her money at all. In her 50s, she met and married a multi-millionaire. We are in Middle America, so that goes further than maybe in a lot of areas. They have given themselves a $10,000 a month budget to live on. Living on interest. They own their home. Anyway, once my mom met him and they got all her finances situated and paid off, she won't spend a penny. He spends like it is going out of style. He has actually begged me to take her shopping to get clothes and accessories. She won't do it. She spent more when she was a single mom with nothing. It makes no sense to me. At least buy a new outfit. She is decided on not using a penny of his money. They barely even have any groceries. If they have anything, it is because he buys it for them. She is a retired nurse and gets a retirement and SS, but she won't spend anything. She lives poorer now than at any other time in her life. Story 9. She and her mother lived with her grandfather to not be homeless because her grandfather owned a house. She was putting community college payments on her credit card and building debt with it. I paid off her credit cards when we were dating, and she cried from me being so nice. It was only like $1,300. I bought a condo when we got married. Then we bought a house. I never really considered myself rich until I started dating her and learned that a trip to Wendy's was a treat. I grew up in middle class and we are currently middle class. Story 10. Honestly, food insecurity. When we were first married, she would get visibly uneasy if the food in the house was running low. She never overreacted or anything. She was just always concerned about it. A lot of times when she was younger, she went hungry. On the humorous side though, she hates camping. Her answer is always the same. I camped because it was fun. She camped because they couldn't afford hotels. Story 11. When the family had people over for dinner, if they ended the prayer before the meal with FHB Amen, it was a signal to let the children know that they don't have enough food for everyone. So take smaller servings and let the guests get a regular serving. FHB equals family hold back. They were always generous to their friends and didn't let their lack of funds embarrass themselves when doing so. Story 12. I was adopted at age 7. I lived in extreme poverty and then all of a sudden, I lived with a doctor who bought gifts for birthdays and Christmas. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could go to the store to get food. I just thought you went to the church and had to pray before they gave you a bag of food. Story 13. More of a funny incident, but I was the poor one. My husband, at the time still my boyfriend, took me out to a very nice restaurant. The waiter asked if I wanted pepper on my Caesar salad that was just made tableside. I said sure, and he goes about it. The thing is, I didn't know you had to say stop. My husband slowly realizes this, but decides to see it play out. He did eventually say that I needed to say stop. I just thought a Caesar was this way, as it was my first time even eating a salad that wasn't just iceberg and ranch dressing. It still tasted fine, just a little bit too much pepper. Story 14. Making financial decisions based on the 3 paycheck month. If you're paid every 2 weeks, most months you get 2 paychecks, and all of your monthly bills and budgeting is based on these 2 paychecks. But twice a year, there are 3 paydays in a month, and that's when you can actually solve problems. That's when you can get the car registered, fix the dryer, or get the cats paid. The other 10 months, you're doing maintenance and trying to scrape by. 3 paycheck months, you can actually try to fix problems. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.